Okay, welcome back to Demon's Souls episode... is it 12 or is it 13? I honestly can't remember. Okay, so there's some slight changes with what's actually going to happen here today, because long story short, there was a screw up with my original commentary recording, so this is actually going to be post commentary, which is something really new to me because I've never done post commentary before. So naturally, as you can assume, I already know mostly what's going to happen, or I know roughly what's going to happen. I mean, if in all honesty, this was recorded sometime last week, and I didn't actually realise that my commentary was screwed up until I was editing it, like last Sunday or something. So it's over a week since I've actually recorded and played it and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mostly completely forgot what I originally was talking about. I do know roughly what I was doing though. So what I was going to do, as the screen should be showing now, is my world tendency in most of the levels is pure white, so I was going to do the pure white tendency events, or at least most of them, because I think I might have overlooked one or two, and I actually did one or two as well during the actual playthrough. So I believe we're going to go straight to Stonefang Mine for this first one. Once I get the Dragonbone Smasher off, stockpile Thomas, because you kind of need it. Now the original, how you actually get the Dragonbone Smasher itself is you need pure white tendency, and it's right next to the what is it? The Dragon God, isn't it? Yeah. But when you first go from the Old Heroes Artstone, you basically run straight towards the Dragon God and turn left, and it's follow it left instead of right. It's right there. So, I will just also say quickly, there was a few interruptions in the recording of this, which is kind of what happens when there's other people living in the same house as you. So there'll be a few little small cuts during the video, but for the most part, I don't know if you'll actually really notice them that much. Obviously, you'll notice them, but they'll be edited out, kind of. So yeah, that'll explain what happens there. Okay, now this is just me going down towards Skiver the Wanderer, which is basically all the White World Tendency events in Stonefang is you go down to him and show him the Dragonbone Smasher once you've got it. And apparently I can't backstab, or I can, but oh well, you don't really need to backstab too much when you have a large weapon like this. Unless you, of course, you're in a very small tunnel where just swinging it tends to hit the walls. So, yeah, that's I've cleared that up. Oh, this is me. I don't want to just keep telling you what's happening on screen. Ah, yes, actually, I do remember what I was going to talk about at this point. I think during the actual live com, I was discussing the Dark Souls 2 beta, and more specifically, my lack of any videos on my YouTube, like I promised. So basically, what happened there was that I did actually, in fact, get into the beta, and I did decide to stream it. I do have a Twitch stream channel, which I'll leave somewhere down in this in my description, so you can, actually go there and follow me if you like. I do stream from time to time. Back to the actual topic at hand though. Basically what happened was I streamed the Dark Souls 2 beta for about for the whole 3 hours that it was running. And I did reasonably well. I at least got to the end and beat the boss, which made me reasonably happy. So yeah, that was good. But then at the end of the stream, basically what I was going to do is I was going to export it straight from Twitch to YouTube, which is something you can do, and it saves a lot of uploading time because it's still on the Twitch servers normally, and well, the Twitch servers are a tad faster at uploading than my internet. So yeah, they tend to be able to send it straight to YouTube, and it can process and export and all that sort of thing. And what happened was, it turns out that Twitch was automatically deleting Dark Souls 2 streams, or at least that's the impression I get, because when I went on to my previous broadcasts on that, it was nowhere to be seen unless they've put it on, unless it's become available since I actually did it, because I haven't actually checked in a while. But yeah, it wasn't in the past broadcasts for me to upload straight to YouTube, and me being me, completely forgot to actually set the set XSplit to record my streams. So yeah, my 3 hours of beta footage has quite possibly been lost. I will double check my Twitch, my alternate Twitch stream for that, because I used an alternate account in case it got banned. Okay, so that should clear that up for, well, it should explain some points there. Now I've just, as you've seen, I just did the World Tendency event in Stonefang. Basically, all it is just go, you show Skiver the Dragon Bone Smasher, and he gives you a pure grey stone, which is actually pretty good for strength builds. And now we're back into the Tower of Latria, because the tendency event in the Tower of Latria is basically, there's a couple of doors, most notably Lord Ridio's cell, that are locked, but the key is actually has to be at you have to pick up the key from Latria World 2, which is where I am now. So yeah, I'm going to proceed to do that, and I'm trying to think what. I could talk about my beta impressions, but well, I'm not going to say. But there's quite a few videos of that already. As far as the actual beta was concerned, I personally myself enjoyed it. I unfortunately wasn't able to actually do any of the multiplayer stuff, since it turns out streaming kind of eats up my bandwidth. My internet's been a little bit funny lately, so I've not been able to stream or upload anything like that properly anyway. So yeah, I wasn't actually able to stream and do the multiplayer. Now there is, of course, a multiplayer event in about a week from now, on the 27th. And, well, I'm generally hoping that the Dark Souls 2 beta client that I got from the EU setup, whatever it is, because yet again, for anyone who didn't know, Europe and North America actually got different ways to enter the beta. In North America, all they did was they sent the codes out via a PSN message, and basically whoever got the first, 4,000, 5,000 beta codes got into the beta and everyone else didn't. Whereas in Europe, what actually happened was that they directed you to a site on the European PSN website, and you downloaded what they called a beta ticket, and then they just basically picked people to participate in the beta, and people who got in, and people who didn't. So, which is a good thing, because it took me an hour and a half to actually get onto the site, because the servers were being overloaded, which was a tad annoying, because apparently the servers were up for about 45 minutes from the start of the beta when the codes and all that sort of thing went out, so I actually missed that bit. But yeah, that's not particularly relevant at the minute. So anyway, yeah, I'm hoping that I get to play on the 27th again. And on the 27th, I'll actually be just straight recording it. I won't be streaming or anything like that. So my internet will be free to actually do multiplayer aspects of the game and that sort of thing. What the hell am I? Oh yeah, I was just wondering why I stood around for a second there. I was probably explaining that that little metal bridge only turns up in White World Tendency here, and the keys that you need are right at the top here. And I'm about to, if I remember rightly, I'm about to waste a Shard of Archstone because I'm too lazy to do a run back. Which I do, if I remember rightly, I do actually end up regretting that later, when I do have to run through the Valley of Defilement. Oh, and I was trying to see if you could jump into the top of there. For whatever insane reason, I thought that was a good idea. But there you go. Okay. Okay, so I'm still just running back. So yeah, as for the Dark Souls 2 beta itself, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the beta. And the major thing that I think some people are actually overlooking on this when they've done their beta analysis, especially the PvP ones, is that it is a beta, and this isn't like the Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 betas that, they put the beta out, 3 weeks before the game's even released. I mean, yeah, those betas are basically just there as game demos. They're there to, it's a demo, that's pretty much it. I mean, the game's less than a month at that point from release. All they can really do is jump on the really bad glitches and probably tweak some of the main gameplay elements that people picked up on. Whereas the beta for Dark Souls, I mean, it's about 6 months before. Is it 6 months or 5 months before the game's even released? I mean, that's nearly half a year in advance. Yeah, as I say, what they put on that beta is nothing, not remotely close to what they will probably release on the final product. I mean, it's 6 months that they can work on it, they can thingy, and even more to the point, they didn't even give anyone actual information of where to post any feedback. I mean, when they said it was going to be a network test, they probably really meant that it was going to be a network test only. I mean, everything in it's basically just thrown together so the game kind of works, so that people can test out how the network infrastructure was working. Because that's what it is. I mean, I believe the test last week was to cover some. Was to. What was it? It says on the schedule on the website. The test next week is their so-called stress test, which basically means I think they're going to invite something like another 6,000-7,000 players in, and they're basically going to see how far they can push the servers before they break them. So yeah, that's probably going to be one small problem with the beta test next week. Is that I'm very much expecting problems within the, I'm expecting it to kind of go tits up at some point or another, because that's kind of the point of it. And I'm dropping my Dragon Bone Smasher, probably because it's too heavy. So yeah. I've said it to several people over Twitch, but over the course of the week. But yeah, I don't think that there's any point at all in trying to judge the beta from what we played last week. So yeah, say they might get to 6 months from now and decide that they don't like it at all and change everything. I mean, there was Dark Souls is a brilliant example. I mean, for anyone who's actually read the Dark Souls patch notes, not that I would expect people really to do it much, but if you actually check the patch notes for the first, 2 or 3 patches, I mean, there are loads of things they patched within the first couple of days of the game, and we are talking the Japanese release here. We're talking 2 or 3 patches that were basically on the disc when they shipped it to America and Europe. I mean, they did patch quite a bit, and then of course there was the patches just afterwards, like the patch for the Ring of Fog, which I'm sure some of you who actually played the game right from the beginning, in the first few months, will fondly remember the Ring of Fog and how bad the forest was back then. I mean, you think the gankers are bad now. The gankers with the to put it simply for anyone who isn't actually aware, basically what the Ring of Fog originally did is it gave you that transparent effect, but it also removed the lock-on. So anyone wearing a Ring of Fog couldn't actually be... you couldn't lock onto them. And this was back when everyone was noobs and most people couldn't play unlocked. I mean, I certainly couldn't. And yeah, you can probably get an idea of how fun that was. I mean, trust me, backstab fishing was a piece of piss when the person couldn't just simply lock on and then circle strafe the same or the opposite direction to you to counter your backstab attempts. It was messed up and completely unfair. But yeah, that's the small point that I was gonna just discuss for that. And I believe my first cut might be coming up in a second, but that's a non-issue at the minute. So yeah, as I say, I don't think people's speculation on the beta is entirely shall we say justified or such. The game's in development, and I do honestly believe that just like some other YouTubers, like a German Spy, for example. I do honestly believe that most of what's in the beta at the minute is placeholder, and as I say, it's just basically there to keep it working. Okay, so there we go. Let me see. I think this is going to be where. Nope, there's Lord Ridiel. Wonder if the. Oh well, I'll carry on. I must be confusing my times. But yeah. This is the White World Tendency event, by the way. That little this little area corridor bit that I've walked down from here is usually blocked off by a load of boulders. Not boulders, rubble. So you can't normally get to it. And I've just picked up the Witch's Hat, which is where you get it, and I believe Sage Frake's equipment is down here as well. But don't quote me on that. And this is probably where the cut is, so I'm gonna probably just cut it here. Yeah. Okay, so I should be back now. As I say, that you probably, I'll probably cut out that whole bit. And yeah, I was right. This is where you get Sage Frake's stuff, which yet again you can only actually use if you're playing as a male character. Which was, yet again, it was something that I kind of liked about Dark Souls. No, not Dark Souls, Demon Souls, but I also didn't like at the same time. And this is, say, letting out Lord Ridiel.
Oh, why, thank you.
Who's a little...
Thank you,
He's quite happy to be out.
Take this.
So he can just, like, rot away and disappear wherever.
I have no use for it now.
I'm trying to remember, you can get his weapon, the phosphorescent pole.
My final,
I'm trying to remember how you actually get it. I think you probably, kill his Black Phantom for it, actually. Because I believe, yeah, you can fight his Black Phantom here. It's... Oops, sorry, I accidentally caught the off button for my microphone, but yeah. Apparently the phosphorescent pole is quite good for faith builds. And now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that, yeah, you do actually pick it up in his Black Phantom form. Small interesting point though is that you can actually farm Ridiel for souls. And in New Game Plus. Which sounds weird, but if you actually look how close he's actually standing to them bars, let's say, don't quote me on this because it's been a long time since I've actually tried it, but if I remember rightly, if you've learned the Soul Suck sorcery, which you get from, I believe it's killing the Maiden in Black at the end of New Game, or New Game Plus, it doesn't really matter when, and then you release Yuria, and you can trade the Maiden's soul for the Soul Suck spell. Now, the strange thing you see with Ridiel him specifically is that apparently he doesn't actually die when you cast Soul Suck on him. So yeah, you can basically just you can wedge yourself up against the bars and you can reach through and Soul Suck him for as many souls as you want, or as many souls as you have grass and patience for. And in case any of you was just wondering why why for whatever reason I healed there, long story short is my my PlayStation controller is actually getting old, and I've dropped it, say, a few too many times, so it's it's not really functioning very well anymore. You'll see a couple of times I'll either inexplicably heal in the middle of fights, or I will randomly change weapons, which you'll see, let's say, 2 or 3 times in this actual video if you look carefully. I am actually going to go and make the effort to buy a new controller for that. But yeah, it's going to cause me a couple of problems throughout this video, and it's getting worse. So yeah, let me see. Ooh, so we're about 20 something minutes in at the minute. So yeah. This is... oh, okay, this is Lord Ridiel, and his corpse. It's for, he actually looks like Ridiel, and you pick up the key to get into the rest of these. Now I'm just trying to think. This is the problem with having to redo your commentary, or trying to think of things to actually talk about. Say, I don't know what more. So I'm not entirely sure what more I can actually say on the Dark Souls 2 beta, because I say there are other videos out there, and I think most of them are probably done better than what I think I could probably do, or at least they're more in depth. They know. While I tested a couple of things that people wanted me in you know, midstream wanted me to, I didn't really do much I didn't really test too much. I mean, for example, I think it's Peeves' video. He actually went out and actually tested and did some maths on the stun lock, because that's apparently a major thing that people are focusing on. Because, well, say, for if any of you haven't been paying attention, long story short, the actual poise to weight ratio for armor has been, how shall I say, it's been lowered on average. So in Dark Souls 2 you will on average have less poise for the same weight, and I very much doubt that we'll have anything convenient like the Hollow Soldier's waistcloth anymore. So yeah, if you're PvPing in Dark Souls 2, there is a realist, let's say, take it with a grain of salt from what I've said earlier, but it seems that the chances are that if you want poise, you're probably going to have to sacrifice speed for it now, because you're going to have to wear the heavier armors and the, well, you know, I just don't think that fast rolling with 60 odd poise is going to be a thing anymore. And as a result, a lot of people are focusing on the increased likelihood of people being stun locked, which, yet again, for anyone who actually played Demon Souls and actually PvP'd in it, you will know very well that R1 spam was basically, with the right build setups, it was basically a case of whoever got the first hit in and managed to stun lock the other one to death first being the winner. Let's just say that while Demon Souls PvP was reasonably enjoyable, the lack of poise was an issue. And people are worried that that Dark Souls 2 is going to take a step back towards that way. Now, yet again, one of the major things that I've noted, let's say one of the major things you have to keep in mind is that there are going to be say poise still exists in the game, so there's going to be a reasonable amount of protection against it, but there's not going to be enough as there was in Dark Souls. And, well, that's kind of just what the result is. and people are worried that worried about that stun locking is going to be an issue. It's I'm not going to say that it's massively concerning, but one of the things that makes me feel better about it is, as I say, Peeve did some testing and actually worked out that if you're actually trying to stun lock people, consecutive hits in stun lock actually lowers your weapons damage, but apparently. So every hit that you do can say, I just said that, what I was just saying was basically the same thing. Oh. And what was it? An example would be better. Let's say you've got, your sword does 500 damage per hit, and I'm about to skip, so I'll just skip ahead in a second and I'll explain my example. Okay, so that was just a cut because for some reason I decided I wanted to use a long sword and I didn't have one, so I went and got an upgraded one. But yeah, what I was saying, the example that I was about to give was for stun lock was, for example, if your weapon was to do, say, 500 damage per hit, yeah? So what would happen is, if you hit someone once, you'd get 500 damage. If you followed up straight away with a second hit, because I think he worked it out, that the damage loss was about 20%. The second hit would only do 400 damage, and the third hit would do, say, 320 or so. I did the maths quickly in my head. Was it yesterday when I was trying to use the example for a friend. But yeah, so it basically means that infinite stun lock, that as we know it in Demon's Souls, it will be impractical is the word I was trying to remember. Bloody hell. Yeah, but infinite stun lock in Dark Souls 2, as long as they don't change anything between now and when it comes out, infinite stun lock will not only be impractical, but it'll actually be straight out detrimental to long-term DPS. Because no matter how you look at it, if you work on the work out on the basis of 20% damage loss on each hit, I can't remember the word I'm looking for, but yeah, the damage loss stacks between hits, as I've just explained. So no matter how you look at it, more than about three or four hits is basically you're going to be doing so little damage in your stun lock that it's just not worth sustaining the stun lock itself, because that's the whole point of stun lock, is for DPS. So that's one thing that I think is going to make stun lock less appealing. And training, let's say, wasting all your stamina on trying to sustain a stun lock that does very little damage is, shall we say, a bad idea. Especially considering that, as it's been discovered, if someone attacks you while if you block an attack and your guard gets broken, in Dark Souls 2 you actually enter the same animation that you would if you had been parried. Yeah. So if someone attacks you and breaks your, on the reverse side, if you attack somebody and break their guard, not lock. If you break someone's guard by draining all their stamina from them blocking, they actually enter a animation that you can actually just walk up and do a repulse. So yeah, running out of stamina is going to be a huge issue on Dark Souls 2. I mean, that's basically what I've come to the conclusion, that everything I've heard about Dark Souls 2 basically comes down to that stamina management is going to become the big thing for the whole game. I mean, say, because the average stamina apparently seems to like it's going to decrease, so not everyone has as much stamina. And I came down here, by the way, to do the White World Tendency event, which is to get the Makoto. And for some reason I saw that the door down there was open, and my brain seemed to instantly think that I actually did it, but I haven't. So yeah. But yeah, back to the point of what I'm discussing. Yeah, overall less stamina, and the results of running out of stamina are going to probably be greater. Let's say running out of stamina to block is going to at least be a major issue. Because say I was in a Dark Souls Fight Club yesterday, and I actually broke several people's guard, actually, which gives you a general point that it is actually more than easy to do if players aren't watching their stamina properly. Okay, so that was because I'm still running White World Tendency events, and I'm about to go to the Valley of Defilement to get the what's it called, the Israelite, or whatever it is. See, I'm not entirely sure. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, I've just realised right now that my commentary has a habit of changing subjects mid. Well, it's not the most coherent commentary to listen to, because I do have a tendency to go off topic and change topics mid topic. Mostly when I'm talking about something, and then I realise that when I actually look at what I'm doing, and realise that it might make sense to actually quickly explain what's actually happening on screen. And what's happening on screen is apparently I'm shooting everything with my bow and arrow that's not an enemy. And I'm probably decide to choose the single worst level in the game to try dual wielding a parry and dagger and a sword. Because my parrying ability is really bad at the minute. I mean, yeah, there we are. Yeah, parry and daggers were never really the best piece of equipment to actually use in Demon's Souls. I mean, yet again, from several reasons, mostly in PvP, because yet again, as I said, as I just touched upon, PvP, the basics, the basic goal in PvP, as I said, was to stunlock your opponent, or if you've got the right build set up, just to simply straight out one or two shot them. But yeah, say parrying daggers were never really took off in PvP that much, because say you screw up you couldn't block with it, and if you screwed up the parry, then you were basically handing the other guy a win, unless you was going to spam grass afterwards, which is what a lot of people did, and that's something I actually really liked about about Dark Souls 2. This, yet again, as I said, I didn't actually do the multiplayer, so I couldn't actually say how much it's working in practicality, but one of the things that I'm really liking from what I've seen and what I've read is the idea of both White Phantoms and Invaders being able to use their Estus flasks. And it sounds bad at first if you say, when you just hear it, it doesn't sound like the best idea. Because we already have enough problems in Dark Souls with people spamming heals, and, well, in Demon Souls we had a real problem with people spamming heals. But, you see, the good thing is this, and I think it's mainly good, especially from the ganking point of view, because basically how it works is, yes, the Phantoms can heal themselves, but at the same time, their host can't heal them at the same time either. And what I always considered the really big problem with the gang squads, especially in the forest, was the specifically the fact that the White Phantom could attack the Invader. And you know, they could get beaten half to death, they could get backstabbed, whatever. I mean, you could backstab the White Phantom, and obviously, as you know, when you backstab someone, you actually kick them to the ground. And when you kick them to the ground in Dark Souls, because this is actually something that they removed from Demon Souls, is that you can no longer attack players, and my aiming's absolutely failing. This is that was a brilliant example, by the way, where auto aim failed to really badly on Demon Souls. But yeah, say the real problem in Dark Souls, as I say, in Dark Souls and ganking, was, as I say, you could backstab the White Phantom, and when you kicked them to the ground, they became invincible. And say there was no way at all you could attack them to finish them off, even if they had like the tiniest bit of health left. But the host could just at that point spam their Estus flasks and heal all the damage that you just inflicted in that backstab, while you was unable to actually stop them. I mean, obviously, if the host and the White Phantom tried to, you know, bum rush together, yes, you could backstab one, then chain backstab the other before they could actually heal, but you get the idea. Whereas with Dark Souls 2 and this system where White Phantoms have to basically heal themselves, they can't do that anymore. If you backstab the White Phantom, or the Blue Phantom in this case, in the case of Dark Souls 2, the simple reality is that that Phantom has to try and find the space and the time to heal while you're still fighting them, essentially. And let's say it's going to lead to, I think it's going to lead to situations, as I say, where it's easier to actually finish off a gang squad simply because the one member of the gang squad can't actually find the time or the space to heal before you can finish them. I mean, which, let's say, yeah, I'm sure you kind of understand where I'm coming from. Which is just something, I think it's a good thing. It also, of course, means that when you're playing things like co-op, the host doesn't constantly have to babysit their Phantom in co-op either. And this is a major one that I think is, it's a major improvement outside of PvP. Because one of the major things that always irritated me when I was starting out in Dark Souls was when I summoned help. And especially when I summoned help of a slightly less capable or completely, what's the term? I'm not going to say incompetent, but reckless player. And so I'm pretty sure we've all had it happen where, as I say, we've all summoned a Phantom and they've basically just bum rushed everything in the path, and say they take a lot more damage than they really need to, and then say as host you end up having to heal them. Say this self-healing thing is yet again another. It's something that I think is going to help with that as well. Say yeah, and yeah. Oh, here's the Israelite, by the way. And say I can't actually use it. It's the L. Sorry. So it's I say it's a weapon that I've never really used because I very rarely made faith builds in Demon's Souls. I made them once or twice and then never really played extensively with them. Because, well, partially because, say, by the time I really got into using them where I actually understood their strengths and weaknesses, I didn't particularly like going the whole blessed route, you know, for the stamina regen stacking. Or more specifically, I think it's probably more likely that when I did use them, on the rare occasions I did use them, I probably did use them for that purpose. In fact, my point is that weapons like the large sword of Moonlight and the Istarel were never so they weren't weapons that I really used. So I never really got them. But yeah, say as for the Istarel itself, if I remember correctly, it has a couple of what do you call it? It has some auxiliary effects, mostly to do with the oh bloody hell! And yeah, again, another example of why absolutely no poise is a bad thing, especially with large, slower weapons. But yeah, the Istarel, I believe, has the auxiliary effect that it increases. I think it's plague and poison resistance, which coincidentally, I'm pretty sure Faith actually increased some type of resistance, although that might have been magic. Now that I think about it, I think Luck actually increased plague resistance, or is it poison resistance? Sorry, it's been a while since I've really focused on the auxiliary effects of stats. So yeah. See, I've generally, long story short, I've heard the Istarel is reasonably good, and it's a good idea to use it in like 2-2, not 2-2, 5-2 and 5-3, where obviously you're spending most of your time sat in a bloody poison or plague swamp. Now that I think about it, let's say that's the first White World Tendency event for the Valley of Defilement, and now that I think about it, I completely missed out on the second one, which I believe, if I remember rightly, you can go back to the 5-3 boss room where you fight Maiden Astraea, and Garl Vinland's Black Phantom is there. Basically, you kill his Black Phantom, and he drops a ring, and then you can take that ring and show to Sellen Vinland in 5-2. I can't remember why you wanted to do that. And as I say, yet again, as I said, my internet's been was a bit funny back when I was doing this. I've actually since fixed it, which is a good thing, so I can stream in 720 again instead of the 4 540 or whatever it is that it's been forcing me to do lately. Okay, so from that, at this point I think I was under the wrong impression that I had actually finished all the White World Tendency events, and I was planning to go and finish off the final boss, or the final real boss. So we're going to run into that, up into here, and this is basically where my shall we say my bad playing really starts to show, because I think I actually did this pretty late at night, and before how shall I say it, after I hadn't played Demon Souls for a while. So yeah, I wasn't playing to exactly my best ability. That and for in case anyone was wondering, trying to do live comm and play at the same time is it has some detrimental effects to your ability to actually play, and I'm pretty bad at multitasking. Okay, so what we have here is yet again three of the Knights of Boletaria. I can't remember what their names are. This is, or at least I can remember roughly what their names was. I believe it's Alfred, Metaz, and Ulan. I believe. So Demon Souls lore is not my forte, shall I say. And for some reason, out of the three of them, I decide that I'm going to try and shoot the archer. But yeah, I'm not entirely. I can't remember exactly which knight is which. Basically, they are they are obviously the Black Phantom forms of Penetrator, which is this one. I believe Phalanx is actually Ulan with the bow. I believe. But yeah, Penetrator, I think Penetrator might... oh crap, I can't remember, but yeah. Penetrator might be Metaz, I can't remember. And I'm not even sure I'm even pronouncing that right. I will just make it clear at this point that pretty much all of my knowledge on lore comes from second hand. From Franz, a German spy. So yeah, on some bizarre and absurd chance that you somehow subscribe to me and not him, I would also go over there and watch his Demon Souls in depth. That'll cover some of the things, or any of his Demon Souls videos. He does mention actually with accuracy which knights are which and such. And as you've just seen, I just nearly got my ass kicked by an NPC Black Phantom, which I will admit it makes me feel slightly better that happening on Demon Souls and Dark Souls, because admittedly they are much more dangerous on Demon Souls than they ever are on Dark Souls. And trust me, when people say that the real bosses on Demon Souls are not the actual bosses, but the NPC Black Phantoms, they aren't joking. And this, yeah, stamina management at its finest. I throw an attack, and well, I throw an attack. It doesn't quite kill the NPC, and then since I can't roll away the NPC, basically R1 spams me to death. The only bonus to this is that these NPC Black Phantoms don't respawn. So as it's very clear, I believe at this point, I'm not really playing very well. So yeah, what the hell is going on here? I think I may have actually skipped. Okay, I'm probably gonna... Nope. No, I probably yeah, something probably happened and I probably skipped in that part of the original recording. But considering that it's only about 20 odd seconds, I'm not actually going to bother cutting that out, if you don't mind. I am going to be probably going to be doing some fast forwarding soon when it comes to dragon slaying. Because, well, you'll see. Okay, so let me see. What am I doing? I've already aggroed the NPC. Now, by the way, the NPC has a white bow, just in case. See, this is the ones that I hate. Say the actual whole combination of the three of them is quite annoying to deal with. Now, say the problem is the Tower Knight here is a pain in the arse to find, because number one, the greatsword itself that I'm using, shall we say, is not very good against spears because of the actual speed that spears tend to poke at. And what didn't help is the actual fact that this weapon actually has quite a lot of knockback. Even worse, of course, is the fact that this NPC is a bloody program to shield turtle with what's probably the best shield in Dark Souls. Not Dark Souls, in Demon Souls. I mean, this is basically the Havel equivalent. Or is that the Brushwood shield? Either way, they're both big, huge shields, and they are very heavy, and they're basically like a fucking wall. What's even worse, that you can't actually tell is that, at this point, is that this NPC is actually using the scraping spear as well. Which means every time he bloody pokes me, he breaks my equipment a bit more. And there we go. So, interesting point though. One thing that I've always, shall I say, been disappointed over with Demon Souls is that you can't actually get the Tower Knights and the Penetrator Knights armour. Yeah, okay, and you can already see what's going to happen here. As I said, this bitch is actually quite fucking dangerous. Because, say, if you're fucking too far away from her, she pulls out her bow and always somehow manages to fucking attack with it at the wrong time. And when you get close, she pulls out her, I think it's a Killage that she uses. Because it's not actually in Dark Souls, which I believe actually turned out to be quite a disappointment to quite a few people. Yeah. And that's hyper armor for the win just there. Because this, and then of course, I believe I just also got her with Phantom Range. Because the greatsword has a small AoE around it. And I've just picked up the white bow, which I'm going to immediately drop. Because number one, I've got one. Number two, the white bow is one of those weapons that it looks good on paper and such, but the actual, shall we say, it has disappointing performance. I mean, because basically a sticky composite longbow with even remotely mild bit of dex investment actually out-damages it. And it takes a lot less stats to actually use. I mean, I think the white bow takes like 30... something like 30 strength and... or is it 25 strength and like 30 dexterity or something stupid like that. I don't know, I would have to look it up and I just can't bother to do the looking it up at this point. Me failing with the greatsword. But yeah, basically the point is that at the point where you can probably really use the white bow properly, just making a sticky composite longbow will get you better AR anyway. So as I say, it's one of those should we say unique weapons that just kind of became pointless to have. So, and to say, Dark Souls has got its fair share of them as well. Okay, so I believe, yeah, we're about to thingy. That's yet again another point where my controller's fucked up and decided that it's going to waste one of my grasses. And here we are, the dragon. I can't remember if I actually killed the red dragon back on the back in 1-2. I may have done. I've done it at least on my stream a couple of times, but yeah. So basically, no, this bit's actually pretty easy because yet again the AI is pretty bloody dumb, and the fat ministers will as you can see, they'll just stand there and let the dragon burn them to death. Now, this first one is easy to get. The second one takes a little bit of, shall we say, convincing to stand in the dragon's fire breath. But, yet again, you shoot him with an arrow and it aggroes him towards you. And he'll walk right into the path of the dragon. Which is easy enough. Well, I'm just trying to think of something I can start talking about because I don't want to actually enter a long, potentially longer conversation part in a minute because I'm going to be doing some fast forwarding. But, oh my god. Great, this is... trying to think of something to talk about to be all interesting. Oh, well, this is not bad. I mean, it's not going to be much longer before I say goodbye to you on this. I don't want to spoil it, but... oh, here we are. Dragon shooting time. So I'm going to basically sit here and shoot the dragon for the next, like, 5 or 6 minutes. So, I'm going to just go silent and I'll be fast forwarding it. Okay, so there we are. As you can unfortunately clearly see, you can't actually kill the dragon at this spot here. You can, however, get him down to half health. And the reason that I've done that, or at least the reason that you'd want to do that, is because it basically just gives Bjorn a, should we say, a higher chance of actually surviving the next part. No, I am about to start wasting my good arrows. Right here. No, I just want to actually look carefully, because I actually, you'll see I'll move in a second to shoot the dragon from a different location, because I think, because I shoot him like once or twice and see that, yeah, so it's like, what is that, 7 damage or something, 4 damage, 7, but what I actually find out from my other location a little bit later is that you can't tell it from here, but Bjor's actually shooting him with one of those trash crossbow things. And I'm not entirely sure whose damage that was actually being. Although then again, it doesn't really matter, because with that sort of damage it's irrelevant. Okay, so I'm gonna probably go back to skipping this in a sec. There we go. And in case you kind of didn't notice, it was actually Bjor who got the killing shot there. Just as a random point thing to say. So yeah. And there's an audio glitch just there, because that's actually the audio that he will play when you first. Well, it's what he should play when you first enter this area, but sometimes the audio glitches out.
Managed, did we? That leaping lizard was more trouble.
No, I think at this point you can actually run back to the Nexus and get one last piece of audio dialogue from him. Because I believe it's after this bit. Oh, if you advance any further into the level, he actually just disappears. But don't quote me on that. Okay, so here we have is Ostrava.
Oh, it's you, is it? My father is up above.
Who's kind of in a depressed mood at the minute.
What's left of him anyway?
Because he's actually he's just clicked on what's actually happening.
I began this
So it's-
quest in a search for truth.
Well, you know,
but it
naivety
seems I was
is never a
fooled
good
to
thing.
try. Please, kill my father. In his
No.
degenerated state, he can only bring peril to the lands. This key fits the bullet.
Ah yes, I actually wanted that as well.
Inside the mausoleum are my father's 2 swords, Soulbrand and Demonbrand. Use them to bring an end to this madness.
I will probably next video actually go and get that. Go and kill Old King Duran. And interesting enough, Ostrava's just killed himself and he immediately warps here to as a Black Phantom. This is one of the funniest things about using the Great Sword. It is a brilliant weapon for on small areas like this, for the reason you've just seen. But yeah, next video I want to probably go and kill Duran before I finish the game. One of the things I think I just probably was talking over that bit, but if you actually look in the side of the elevator, there's little alcoves in the side of the wall with slaves on little winches to raise the lift. Which is just an interesting random point. Now, here we are, going on to what, as I say, I personally consider to be the final boss. And there's a couple of reasons for this. I mean, number one, well, it's just how it's set up. It's kind of just like everything leads up to this bit. I mean, especially considering that there's actually 4 levels to Boletarian Palace rather than 3. And it's just got that whole climactic fight feel to it. Or at least I feel like it does. And then there's the little bit of audio dialogue at the end when you kill the false king that no other boss really gets. But you'll get to see that. Possibly not in this episode though. Okay, good job, dodge. Not so good. No. And if this isn't setting a tone for how this fight's gonna go, then I don't know what will. One thing it's a thing I'm going to actually throw out here. But one of the things I actually really like about the Greatsword, for this fight specifically, is that it actually, you can stun old King Allant with it. As I say that just as he stabs me in the back and kills me. But yeah, you can stun him with that attack, with the hits, and you can stun him out of certain attacks. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be the end of the episode. I mean, at this point, I was getting tired. I wasn't playing very well, and I just basically came to the conclusion. Well, I was going to continue, but you'll see in a minute. Say at this point I was pretty unhappy with my performance for actually against King Allant. And this, what's gonna happen here basically pretty much just finished it up. Or is it not this one? So we'll see in a minute. Another shield that I can't use. Oh, where is it? Completely screw up the... Oh, yeah. There you go. There's another one. Another example of me switching weapons without trying. That was probably another contributing factor to it. But yeah, my controller, I just lost to the boss. My controller wasn't really working very well, and then this happens. And I decided that that was it. I was gonna be out for the rest of the day. So yeah, that's the end of my Demon's Souls video. So yeah, look forward to the next one. Hopefully I won't fail as hard. So yeah, goodbye, and all that sort of thing. I mean, you know what usually comes at the end of a thing here. So yeah.